final approach. Whatever's causing those transmissions, it's not showing up on any of the sensors. This Imperial outpost looks as abandoned as reported.
Kyle, Jan, greetings.
Nice try. It's as dead as the rest of Ketchum. My Mothma must be getting paranoid.
I thought it only fair to...
There! She never used to send pros like us out on blue milk runs like this. Bust! Jan, I found an exit.
I'm afraid we haven't been able to decode any more.
Look! Stop talking!
Good advice, Kyle.
Don't be insulting. Our scientists believe that they were trying to artificially infuse the power...
I know. Does it matter?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Do you think I would look for you if I wasn't sure?
Huh.
The New Republic is uneasy about sending in a full liberation force, so...
So you'd like us to sneak in, assess the situation, and call in the fleet if necessary?
Yes.
Not a chance! No way!
We'll double your usual fee.
No!
What, am I supposed to do this alone?
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes. You would prefer to be left out of it, at least until I'm dead.
Will do.
Hey, Kyle, aren't you going with me?
Jan, no.
You traitor?
Admiral. Admiral. Admiral Fire, I order you to come in at once.
Strange.
You can't get away.
Do you flee like a coward?
Uh-oh. Kyle, heads up.
Kyle? Kyle Katarn? You're the legendary hero who destroyed Jarek at the Valley of the Jedi?
No.
You look like nothing more than a bantha herder.
I know. You should run. Hey! Great.
All right, welcome. Good evening, everyone, to Saturday Night Sith, and that was a little piece of internet history that I wanted to kind of introduce the show with, and something that I still enjoy today, and a big, I don't know if I'd say thanks or whatever, but to the guy that created that, EagleStriker, and if you're familiar with the old JK3 files for modding Jedi Outcast or Jedi Academy, that's where I certainly grabbed that. And good Lord, do I still love enjoying those little episodes. And I thought, what a way to start things off. And good evening. And so, Hitman, how's it going?
Good. My life may be complete after watching that 3-minute clip. That was probably the greatest clip I've seen in years.
Like it's still something I enjoy watching. It's great, and I'll have more to come.
Everybody just buckle up. That was truly amazing. I cannot wait for more. Probably one of my favorite games, honestly.
Oh, definitely.
Out of all the games, by far my favorite. So
yeah, and that was using the old just basically messing with the scenes and everything, and this is kind of like akin to probably like a old C-Lab 2021, just abridging the game story down to that.
It's definitely top notch in my book. Well played indeed.
Yep. All right, so there's plenty of news that has been going around a bit for good old Star Wars. And before we get into, I figured we would talk about this, and I think you and I have gone over this on an occasion, or at least bringing it up to each other, of the name change for Boba Fett's ship.
Yes.
So the article I got from Bounding Into Comics, they made it easy for me to be able to grab this up, and it was the actor Tamara Morrison that gave us our confirmation, because apparently they've been addressing it even within the show. And just to kind of grab his quotes really quick, because they being asked on it, there's like, so I was wondering, have you guys given any thought to what we would call Boba Fett's ship now? And Morrison answered, I think we call it the Fire Spray. I think I've mentioned it in a couple of episodes. I think Fire Spray, it is a gunship now. That's what we're calling it. We're calling it a Fire Spray gunship. Yes. So even with him kind of trying to go into this, it's yeah. It's just more of, it's just kind of this more Disney Lucasfilm deciding to erase, kick out anything of anything pre-established. Because, and I'll say this, I'm again, it's like I'm learning as we go along here with a lot of this stuff, just getting as ingrained in it as I can. That the whole Slave-1 ship name does come from Jango Fett's time, of even him kind of falling into that, and just kind of once he got the ship that was retrofitted to being his bounty hunting ship, called it Slave-1, and kind of was that remembrance of it. But we can't have any of that. Apparently, we can't have cool bounty hunters. We can't have cool ship name. We can't have any of it. Just further, this more this goofy erasure of pre-established lore. You got any thoughts on this whole thing?
So many thoughts. What did we call on the last show? You said it. You used a term that I loved, and I'm having a brain Disneyfication.
Yeah,
is that Disneyfication? We are going to coin this term for the entirety of this show, and however long it lasts. I hope it lasts for forever. But this is just, and this some of the viewers may agree with me, others may not. Like, this is just another example of how Disney wants to bow down to these, what I would assume, these social justice and just these terms that are now deemed offensive.
Right.
Slave-1. You want to take an iconic piece of Star Wars lore and memorabilia, or whatever you want to call it, and like, oh, you know what? We can't call a ship Slave-1 because it's going to offend people.
Well, and then just how lazy does it show of them too, is that they can't even come up with a brand new name on top of it. They just go by the Fire Spray.
Listen, this name sounds exactly what I did after eating Taco Bell last night. Like, it's just a terrible name, like Fire Spray.
There's been that. There's for some people making that, and then it's just also I was commenting somewhere else, and they were saying the same thing. It ends up sounding more like an STD than an actual than the name for a ship.
This is the problem that I have, and I think that we are on the same page with this, and I think this is why this show kind of came into fruition, is because they're just destroying Star Wars. It's like, well, we can't have anything that offends people, so blood offends people, so we're going to have a scene where a Gamorrean cuts the neck of somebody, but mysteriously the human being doesn't have blood.
Any blood, anything. Blood. Well, and especially for a show like this, a show with a bounty hunter doing his thing, you would think we would get something a little more darker.
Yes,
just for the fact that it is also Boba Fett, Mr. Pointing very specifically, no disintegrations.
I'm trying to fit, like, what more are they like? What more like? What is the point of this show? And is the point of this show, and is the point of Kathleen Kennedy and Kevin Feige and Filoni? Are they just trying to piss off? I'm going to use the term loyalists, the purists, if you will, the people, the ones of us that have been Star Wars fans since day one and cling to Star Wars, who was created by George Lucas. Are they just trying to figure out new ways to piss us off so we'll just leave? Or
it's their whole their whole mentality, this deconstruction. They have to deconstruct everything. They can't just build up and prop up their heroes. They have to keep deconstructing, destroying, and basically just they think they're trying to put their own little new spin on things, but it just ends up making things so much worse.
I just to take a name like that, the iconic name, and people are, well, I can understand because slavery and all this and that, and bounty hunters capture people and they make them their slaves and like whatever it is. Like no, like it was a bounty hunter who called his ship Slave-1. I mean, it's the name of a ship. But we can't even have
and if you bother to get into the deeper lore of things, which all of it's there's still plenty of resources. It gives you those explanations that you're looking for. It gives greater context to it.
Mark my words, in one of these episodes, if not in one of these episodes, but eventually we will have lightsaber duels amongst Jedis and Sith. But there will be no lightsaber. There'll be pillows. There will be a pillow fight. This is where we're going with this.
There's a part of me that would not be surprised by that.
For Ghost Yoda is going to sit down with. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like Ghost. I just gotta. This is what's gonna happen. Ghost Yoda is gonna sit down amongst Anakin and Luke. And they're going to have a big circle jerk and figure out why Luke has daddy issues with Vader and why Vader went off and they're deconstructing the whole thing.
Well, I mean, that was the whole bit with Last Jedi and shit like that. It's just kind of like, really? You're taking a character as beloved as Luke Skywalker and turning him into the hermit that, just basically said, I'm done with the galaxy. The guy that was the most optimistic, the guy that was willing to face the Emperor, face death, just to try and help bring his father back to the light side.
Yeah,
and then he senses his nephew having bad dreams and is like, I got to take this fucker out now.
Yeah.
What?
It's just really sad. I think it irritates me beyond all measure, but it's really just sad that Lucas. I don't even want to call it Lucasfilm. I feel that's just disrespectful.
Well, it's just an in name only at this point,
for sure. But to either cater to a culture, like a generational culture that is all about not offending people and deconstruct something so great as Star Wars, and to make it fit a it's just odd, sad, weird. It's just there's so many emotions, but I think that the greatest emotion is just stupidity. It's like I have no patience for it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing we can do. We just have to sit back and watch them deconstruct this and just watch them.
Well, and then we can deconstruct their deconstruction as we go into all this fun.
That's what we do.
Into this nonsense that they've decided to put out. So, with that in mind, shall we start digging into episode 3?
I am so excited. I don't know if you're excited. I'm excited right now.
Boba Fett and his little Power Ranger gang.
Oh God!
Like from the get go. So I mean, we get basically that droid going over the power structure of the valley.
I believe. Old 8D8. Old Jabba's droid.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going over basically the territories and stuff like that, and how now it's basically they're having to pick up the shatters that was left after killing Bib Fortuna, which is amazing that somehow this Twi'lek managed to maintain any level of power within that time before getting shot by Boba at the end from Mandalorian. It still amazes me that the henchmen managed to pull anything off, and it makes you wonder what was really going on at times. I guess it's like how is he maintaining this without
you talking about Bib?
Bib Fortuna. How is he actually maintaining this? That you can understand with the Hutts and stuff, because they have that they have their their connections.
Yeah,
it's just part of them. But you know, it's even funnier because then, you know, you bring in this the moisture farmer, the water seller.
They called him a watermonger.
Watermonger. Well, it's funny because, like, I mean, they spell it out that we were already kind of getting, nobody has any respect for you.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And it's like, this is what Boba Fett has been reduced to. A low. He is basically a low level thug himself. He's a little wimpy crime boss that isn't getting the respect that he should be due just from reputation and stuff alone. But at the same time, from what we've seen of these two episodes, it's been pretty obvious. Yeah, you can pretty much walk over him. He's a doormat,
right?
Because he's not actually enforcing anything other than maybe letting Fennec do some things here or there. But I mean, what is that? It hasn't amounted to him showing any force, any power. And there was one little thing that I thought was kind of funny when he was talking, and I'm looking at my note. I've gotta grab up my notes really quick. Is how now apparently everyone seems to be aware of how Tatooine it was once covered in water.
Yeah.
When I could have sworn that, you know, in Knights of the Old Republic, the first game, that was really only discovered, I want to say, from going to the Starforge items and then getting those details, or even talking to the Tuskens. But for one, Tuskens ain't talking to normal settlers and whatnot, except for now, you know, Dances with Banthas here. But
yes,
but you know, it's just funny that this has now become somehow common knowledge when it was, even, you know, thousands of years ago, not that well known. It was a kind of a revelation then that, you know, with the Rakatans and their empire, it glassed the planet and turned it into the dust bowl that it is, when it once was a thriving sort of, you know, probably Earth-ish planet.
But this knowledge is just common knowledge. This
apparently
this knowledge
is just to be thrown out there by the quote unquote watermonger here.
Yeah, what a great name, watermonger.
Let's go with it. You know,
you know.
But the whole thing is just so. The whole scene was just kind of goofy. Because
you're being very kind with using the word goofy.
Yeah. Well,
I just want to break this down real quick. So, I mean, is there anything else you want to add to the whole
at least for that bit? I have them. Because after this little bit, because then we do get Boba walking the streets to find the little punks that was stealing his water.
Yeah,
the guy's water, and it's funny because we get to see their goofy Vespa things. Mopeds, whatever the heck,
whatever you call
scooters, them. You know, whatever it may be. So these kids are supposedly, so poor that for one, they can afford those vehicles that look brand new, shiny as all get out. And then on top of that, they can afford their cyber mods and stuff. They've cyber modded themselves out, but they're still too poor to afford water.
Yeah.
Something in that whole collective of things just does not add up in my book. It just all comes off as being very why? What?
They look pretty. I mean, those Vespas that you mentioned, they look pretty expensive.
Well, that was, as silly as they looked in comparison to, proper vehicles in the Star Wars universe. Yeah, it just like you look at them.
Yeah.
You look at them as anything else. It's like, okay, that looks like that probably costed you a pretty penny.
Right.
How?
I don't even Luke, and when young Luke was working the moisture evaporator, I don't even think he would ride one of those ridiculous things. This is kind of like where my whole thing. So, and Mos Espa divided by 3 families, right? So you got the Trandosians, the Aqualish, and the Klatooinians, I believe is what they called them. So out of all 3 of these species, and again, for those that actually may have more knowledge than me, please put your comments in the comments section and tell me what you think. But like, out of all 3 of these, the only one that I would probably fear and respect would probably be the Trandosians, because they would eat your face through your neck. Other than
the Hutts, they're probably they'd be the next group that you'd be like, I want to necessarily mess with them.
Even a compliment, like he said, even a compliment sounds like a threat.
Yeah.
Then it jumps down to they got Lorth Appeal, the water, aka Watermonger, also aka Shyster, who sells water for 1,300 credits, states. Well, with apologies, sir, no one respects you. So this is my problem. So a lot of problems. One, again, Boba Fett takes his helmet off, which again, even
for that meeting, he was already without. And then again, when he meets the plucky little the teens, he again removes the helmet. I'm like, can he just for once keep the damn thing on?
Please and thank you. But telling that no respect, and that again, it just stems back to like we were talking about last episode. Is like, you don't fear or respect Boba. Like this is like, if I had a bounty on my head and I found out that Boba was the guy that was going to fulfill the bounty, I'd be fire spraying my pants every minute, right? Like, this guy demands, if not, fear, but respect through fear, right? And to say like nobody respects you, and he's
nothing to mess with,
and then it was like this pissed me off. Pardon my French. I don't try to cuss, but this pisses me off. Where he says, ever since Lord Fortuna was, and then there's a pause, and he said, perished. Like, bro, the dude that you're talking to is the one who shot him in I believe the face or the head, right? Is that?
I think so. Yeah, it's been a while since I took a look at that.
You just said like, they just paused and like perished. I'm like, that Boba killed him, so how dare you? Just that. And then what else here? We look. Just no one. Boba's the one who killed Bib Fortuna, and then like nobody fears or respects him. It just doesn't make any sense. Like,
what adds to the lack of any kind of fear and respect is that he goes up to the plucky little biker gang, and he lays it out. They talk back to him, and he just kind of takes it as, oh, you got some moxie. Instead of at least, I don't know, gut punching one of them, laying them out, showing them who's boss. Instead, he's like, oh, you got moxie. How about I hire you? What? And then they kind of do a whole dismissal of the water seller, and he gets kind of shortchanged, and it's just the whole lead up to all that was, you almost think you're gonna get something, and they disappoint every time.
I don't even think disappoints the like right word. It's just like utterly. It's gave me diarrhea as I was watching it.
It gave me something.
Gave me
So
and then I've got here so that whole ridiculous meeting, and then we jump down, and I think in the scene where you said Boba's walking through the streets and he approaches the the kids that were still in the water, and then that whole interaction, basically offering them a job, I think is and then the guy comes out and is like, "Why they're stealing water from me? Like what? And you're gonna just let them off the hook?"
That's where I said there. He just then kind of shortchanges him, throws him a coin, and
I just wonder if the true Boba Fett, the Boba Fett of old, prior Filoni, if he would even have an interaction with, like, if this would even be like an interaction, and if it almost was like, it was like he agreed with the kids, like, "What? You're charging 1,300 credits?" Like, it just, like, would Boba really even be concerned, or would he just like kill the dude, take his money, and then just tell the kids where to go?
I mean, he probably would, unless it was a bounty, he would have killed him. But I mean, unless it was that, no, it probably wouldn't. This wouldn't have even been a blip on his radar, really. But my knowledge is still pretty limited. But it just, the whole thing again, it just kind of comes off as just really goofy. Yeah, it doesn't seem to stay true to what you would expect this character, who has the reputation he has, would just, kind of peacefully resolve the whole situation the way he does. But this is apparently the new and friendlier Boba Fett.
Yes, the kissing babies and helping old ladies cross the dirt road Boba Fett.
Yeah, when are we going to get that?
I thought he already showed up. So, and then where do we go from there? So, he takes off his helmet, blah, 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 and hires them and tells the watermonger where to go.
And then that's kind of our little intro. And again, we kind of get a flashback to again, him with the Tuskens. But this one's really short. They kind of kept this one short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Other than pretty much setting up the aliens that he was dealing with as another threat to this whole organization that's going on. And which is even because this is kind of the funny thing that I had found too, and it's really kind of sad because, and again, this is something that is showing that Disney Lucasfilm cannot maintain any level of consistency with even their aliens, because here's how they appeared. I believe from I want to say from the Clone Wars, but it could have been from Rebels too. It's been a while since I watched that, but here.
Oh, the Pikes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at this alone, I'm just like, you removed a lot of what, gave that alien look.
Yeah. So you got Pikes on. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm dyslexic, but it looks like you got, the Pikes on the right, and then you got a catfish on the left.
It seems to is in line with they seem to, with any of these new aliens that they seem to bring in, they tend to have this very flat textured and then just overall boring design.
Yeah.
And the original definitely kind of at least pops of probably some of that old kind of George Lucas style of imagination for the aliens. And I'm just like, how do you lose that? You have your Lucasfilm. You guys are supposed to have. Sorry.
Well, no, go ahead, because I got a lot. This is very. I have not seen this picture, but I do have a comment.
I've been after this whole episode came out. There's been a lot of
Where'd
people
you find
dropping.
This? Where did you find this one?
From this user MK Tune on Twitter.
He
posted this up, and I was just like, I'm saving this because I want to talk about this. It's again, like I say, it's just you look at the way the eyes are designed. You can kind of see a little bit of a dot nose there, but I mean, just then the frills on the head and everything, and then even the clothing is already making it pop more.
Yeah.
It's just, where did this go? How did you lose this?
That is George Lucas. I'm profitable with Lucasfilm, and I actually have an imagination. And this is Kathleen Kennedy's I'm broke because I've lost so much money creating just crap, Star Wars.
You're kind of not wrong on one part, because as I hear the new, I think CEO of Disney is a big cheapskate, so he does tend to skirt a lot of
cheapskate,
costs.
shyster. It's my favorite word of all. Just shyster. I use a lot.
Let's go with shyster.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I like that photo a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just the design and what it could have been and what it is in actuality.
Right. So
you can't be surprised, though. You can't really just touch on this real quick. You can't be disappointed, because through this whole the 3 episodes, the costumes and the portrayal of the alien species, they haven't. I mean, it's been subpar. It's been really, we live in 2022, and this is what you come up with. My niece could draw my niece could draw a better picture of an alien than what you've come up with, and you're supposed to have all. You know what I mean? It's just mind-boggling.
Send her to Lucasfilm.
Maybe if Apple buys out Disney, I'll do that.
Oof. I don't know if that'll make things any better.
I don't know, but we can hope.
So we get that bit of setup with the little meeting that he has, getting paid and everything, and then of course, which I will admit, I was a little surprised that somebody went full Anakin Skywalker and trashed the whole Tusken camp.
It was very reminiscent of when the stormtroopers killed Luke's aunt and uncle, and
just actually
smoldering.
There's a lot of right.
Yeah, this guy kind of was like, "Oh, I'm surprised. This could be offensive to most people. There's smoke." But,
careful now.
Yeah.
What I found funny though is that before he left, we of course saw the Tusken chieftain. I'm guessing is what he was. He's a Tusken chieftain, and then the female that was training Boba in their ways or whatever. But then, during that whole thing, we when Boba's walking through the whole camp, they only show us the one that we only get to see the dead Tusken chieftain.
Yeah,
they purposefully focused on that.
Yeah,
but we did not see the other.
Well, then they were burning. Yeah, then he through the scene he was burning some. There was a couple bodies or a heap, something he was burning. But yeah, that was. I thought that was really interesting. I was like, well, where's the whole camp? You just pillaged this camp and burned it, but you're just going to focus on the chieftain or whoever he is,
right? So it makes me wonder. It's kind of popped in. I'm like, okay, so how is she going to come back later? And then what also kind of spurred on into my mind is I'm like, oh my God, they're going to do it. they're gonna actually make her be the one to remove the headdress and everything. They're gonna do a face reveal for the Tuskens.
Oh, if they do,
I was like, oh no. No. It's especially after going through the Kenobi book once again.
yeah,
And hearing from the perspective of one of the Tuskens in Arc, how, you know, even from birth, Tuskens are wrapped in those bandages.
yeah,
And even if they get a wound, if they get a rock stuck, all it is bandaging on top. Nobody's ever seen basically their faces.
it's very similar to the Mandalorian.
Right. But it just would not surprise me if that is another thing that they decide to do, is, you know, for this one special Tusken, since we already know we got, you know, the special camp of them, that
if they
this
do
is
this,
the one that reveals herself or something, you know.
If they do this, if Filoni does this, I quit.
It just was one of those things that it popped into my brain, and I'm like, oh,
okay, well, this will be fun. So, are you calling
this is gonna be a big reveal, isn't it? This is gonna be their big reveal.
Do you think that they're gonna do this?
What?
Do that?
It would not surprise me.
Okay.
It would not surprise me. It's just a theory. I just kind of one of those things that popped into my head while after watching it, and just kind of when I did those screen caps, and I was thinking, I was like, God, why would that be? And I'm probably giving them a lot more credit than they freaking deserve.
You are, but I will say this: like I probably agree with you.
Yeah.
If this becomes a thing, I'm going to hold you personally accountable, because I'm sure Disney is probably listening on this episode. Like, oh my God, that's a great idea to piss them off even more. But I want to go one step further. Yeah. Sorry. No, I was just going to say, like, for those who are listening, I think it'd be fun to, like, just put in the comments what you think. If you think this is going to be a thing, I'm going to be mad at you. I'm going to hold you personally accountable if this happens. But I could probably see it just because, you know, for the simple fact that, you know, when you research the Tusken Raiders and the Sand People, and there's multiple articles out there that describe, like, give different descriptions of, like, the different tribes and everything. And some tribes are just vicious and kill everything they want to kill and bloodthirsty and shoot everything they see. And then there's other tribes, like, I guess this one, that are, like, you know, all about, you know, kissing babies and welcoming you into the family. But I would my vision would be, not really a vision, but I would see them, because everybody has this negative connotation about Sand People, like, oh, they're just vicious and they're you know, just savages. And I could see Disney trying to show them as a more kinder race.
Well, and that's been the whole point of all this. They've been trying to show them in a new, different light. But again, that's where my thoughts come in with after going through the Kenobi book again. You did get a different perspective of them, but at the same time, they still were that, you know, they were kind of like, they still maintained what you could see as a villain role. They are aggressive. They will not hesitate. They'll generally not hesitate to kill any of these, you know, settlers, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, the farmers and everything, because to them, they are invader. They are the Tusken Raiders. They take no prisoners.
And these are the people that, like, Sir Alex Guinness, God rest his soul. I still, you know, one of the greats, if those
Absolutely.
who love the English theater. But, you know, even in the movie New Hope, like, he was on edge when, you know, he heard them like, oh, we got to get into, you know. So, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the dude that fought Anakin, that, you know, fought, you know, Anakin later and trained Anakin, and one of the, you know, and this is debatable, I get it. We definitely have our opinions on him, but, like, definitely just a great Jedi in general, yeah.
That's
you know, you could say almost had maybe a vigilant fear respect, however you want to
It
call
was
it.
probably like I mean, with fear, respect, it was
Yeah.
kind of, it goes hand in hand with
No, I mean,
when it comes to the Tuskens.
for sure. And again, Obi-Wan, I don't know how old, like, was 70, 60 years. I don't know how old he was in that time. Would have been, what, 50 years after the fall of the Empire? Is that right?
No, it was,
I got that
wait.
wrong. And New
What
Hope. How many years?
A New Hope was what, 25 years, between 20
Before?
25 years after the fall of the Republic and the birth of
the
the
Republic.
Empire.
Yes, yeah. So anyway, so I could see them like, oh well, we need to just show them as just this just beautiful, loving, non-violent race.
Yeah, I don't know why everything just has to kind of get reduced to
Water.
This basic pacifism sort of role for I have no words. I don't know.
So I wrote this in my notes here, and we might be jumping it back a little bit, but so the back to tank, and he has again the same vision that he's had for the last I don't know how many years, months, days, whatever, and it's just exclusively when I don't know what that back is doing to his brain, but I did write in my notes that you see he's walking through the camp like we said, and he sees the chieftain died, and then he's throwing his Gaddafi stick and everything. Right. He's taking off the robes and everything, but there's a scene there where he's riding the bantha, and I wrote down here that Boba is now a full-fledged member of this secret society race that nobody has ever really known a lot about. So
he was inducted in such a weird way too. It's like because it wasn't even as it's been described as being basically suicidal to try and join the Tuskens.
Right.
And the only one prior to this, it was Sharad Het, who was a former Jedi.
Yeah.
And that in of itself is like, oh, I see. And the only time they ever, the Tuskens themselves ever tried to replenish ranks from outside was they abducted children.
Yeah.
That was how they replenished their ranks. So this whole, even, when they took the Rodian and Boba Fett hostage in the last 2 episodes, whatever it was ago, it is again just antithetical to what the Tuskens are sourced as being.
Yeah.
So
I just want to know what this nonsense with the Pikes are, because he has that meeting with the Pikes, and then he goes back to the camp, I believe is how it went, and the camp's destroyed. So that led you to believe that the Pikes may have been involved in it, but then it was this Hell's Angels biker gang.
Yeah, it had that symbol again.
Yeah, the double loser. The L or whatever. I don't even know what it was.
Whatever,
like a boomerang. Yeah. And then the camp's destroyed, and then he basically burns everything that they gave him, and almost looked like he was crying for a minute. I was like, if you make this guy cry, I have a lot of issues with this episode, but the biggest thing is you look at that scene. Like, if you make this bounty hunter who commands respect,
cry like a big baby.
Yes, who previously the original commanded fear, respect, and instilled fear into people, make him cry. I'm done. You will break the internet. I'm done with today.
I thought he did, but I might not have been seeing it very clearly. My
blood pressure is about 8. And if you're going to tell me that you saw him cry, you're going to raise it to about a 15. But
maybe, I don't know.
But why? Did you legit? Okay, so can we just talk? Did you legit see a tear? Because I thought I thought they would have made him kind of do a sniffle or something like that. I didn't see anything. I've seen around some people say that he started crying, but that's fine. Maybe the viewers want to see my blood pressure go to a 15. So if you tell me that you did, then that's fine. We'll just let them deal with.
I never saw him. I never saw the tears start flying, but
I saw the look at the fire, and I saw his eyes were glistening a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and thankfully, after that little, row of whatever, we do get him getting his his shit kicked
Yes!
by the big Wookiee.
Oh,
The
yes,
Wookiee that just busts in there and starts messing him up bad.
the whole okay, so the subtitle of this scene in my head was like, I just stole your lunch and your lunch money. Comes in, rips him out of his back to bed, which I don't know again if that's canon, but for whatever, for sake of argument, just rips him out, and then he starts fighting. Real quick, so did this fight scene, just real quick, did it make you mad, or did you somewhat like were you intrigued by it?
So when it first got kicked off, I was kind of like, oh, holy shit, the big old Wookiee got in. And my brain was as it eventually got to it, was like, where the hell is his security? How did this big Wookiee manage to, man? Unless this Wookiee's like a master ninja or something, man, I don't see how he could have gotten through, but everyone else apparently is asleep on their ass, not doing shit to protect this place. What did he hire the little, biker gang for?
Yeah.
Otherwise it was just kind of funny because all it was too was the Wookiee just kind of, for the most part, throwing him around the room, maybe landing a couple of punches, and then he gets him into that big bear hug. And from basically the sounds that we hear, is like he gets his back cracked. It's like, dude, he should be out for the count. But then everyone comes to Boba's aid as everyone's. I mean, that was at least the one thing I could say was a good thing, was that nobody really got the upper hand on him necessarily on the Wookiee. The Wookiee was pretty dominant in all that fighting that was going on. Yeah, he took some wounds here and there, but I mean, he was pretty much owning the situation. Which it just wouldn't have surprised me if any of the little biker goons happened to have shown some impressive skills and got the kill on the Wookiee. That just would have made me, I probably would have shut off the episode right there. Otherwise, it was kind of at least a good way that they ended it with throwing him down into the pit. But I think that it should have also been more of Boba Fett's move of coming once he got downstairs, since apparently he was okay, got downstairs, and he was the one that threw the knife into the Wookiee's hand to trap him down there. But apparently Boba can't do that. Hello? So it seems Jay Hitman has gone MIA for the moment.
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can see you too. You got your...
Hold on. Technical difficulties. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry, I was trying to research something real quick. So, do the fight scene. I took a couple notes here, but so fighting the Wookiee, but when he throws him over, he tries to grab his one of his I don't know what you call it, his weapons that he, like his wrist guard or whatever it is. Did you see or catch that? Were those whistling birds? And again, I was trying to research if whistling birds were like canon, because I know that was the Mandalorian thing, that they made him from the Beskar armor. So that's what I was actually trying to research, because I wasn't exactly sure. But did you catch that watching that at all, or was I just crazy?
Whistling birds? No.
So do you remember from the Mandalorian, the first season, where the armor's making the armor out of Beskar, and then he requires whistling birds, which are the explosive projectiles.
Oh God,
I have to go back to the first
I'd have to rewatch that first season, because it's been a while since I even watched that.
I saw that and I was wondering. I was like, I just saw that. I was like, are they really going with this? And again, like I don't know. I guess it could be canon, but that popped my eye, because he's grabbing his, like, out of all the things, like guns and everything there, you're gonna grab your, like, your wristband, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like this Boba Fett has become like just this just old man Fett. Like every
Well, and
battle
that's
that
what it is. Yeah, it's
like
just old
every
man Fett.
battle that he's been in, like he needs. And can we just like give? I do want to give credit to this Wookiee, Karsitan, whatever his name is, however you pronounce it. This dude took on like 10 people. Like 10 people
Yeah.
up in
Oh,
this,
that's
in
what.
this
Yeah, that's what I was
palace.
saying. That's what I was saying, man. It was insane that Wookiee was just tanking all of these people, and
Listen,
that was the good thing because like it was. I honestly thought that wasn't going to be the case. Like it would have been one of the leader biker chick or whatever
right.
that was going to get the kill on him or something like that, or take him down completely. And amazingly, it was just the Wookiee was just tanking everyone, and just he messed up the Gamorreans a little bit. He threw their asses around,
Right.
and then it came down. At least came it came down to them trapping him. It didn't come down to them killing him, but it came down to them trapping him.
Let me just say,
okay, that's not a bad solution, but again, it was like it should have been Boba Fett that was the one that knocked him in, at least knocked him into the pit, or was the one that threw the knife instead, and was what sent the Wookiee down into the pit.
Yeah,
but
this is why nobody respects Boba, because everybody else is
everybody else is doing the work for him.
Yeah, I just say this, like I find it remarkable that he gets his hand bit and draws no blood. And then, then he takes it's like a cannibal, like just takes a bite out of the Gamorrean's neck, like his collarbone's gone, probably.
It would have been,
his sub clavicle, if Gamorreans even have one of those things like we do, is probably just broken, shattered, and
what's funny too is that Wookiee was using those shock taser knucklers,
brass knuckle things,
and no bruising, no blood, no nothing. It is just like, God.
I just say this: if you got hit with one of those, or if you this is why I want to give credit to the Wookiee, because if you had been stabbed like he was, shanked in the rib cage, your day would probably be ruined. Probably not have a good day.
Yeah.
And if you got hit with one of those, I don't know what you call them, laser brass knuckle things, that would probably not feel very good. So
no, not at all.
But yeah, that fight scene, it was just like, this dude is taking. It's like, but again, it's like really like you're gonna fight. Like Wookiees are very, very, like, for those that don't know about what I mean, they're very, very powerful. I just thought it was funny. Like, okay, like you're gonna fight this Wookiee. Like, I guess if anybody could fight a Wookiee and kill a Wookiee, it would be, I guess the old Boba Fett. But I just like your chances even then are like, but he didn't have anything, so like it's just funny. Like your chances of beating a Wookiee are.
No, it's. I mean, in A New Hope, right? Han Solo is just like, hey, when except when George loses, they don't rip your arms out of your sockets. The Wookiee will. So, it's little things like that kind of gives you that insight to what the creature is capable of doing, and it's
yeah. So, so then we go into this meeting with the Hutts.
Yeah, that's where we're getting we're getting again the kind of run around with the Hutts.
I guess we should touch on the dinner scene first. That was kind of, I don't know what that was.
There wasn't much of a point other than just to give Boba Fett the chance to go. We have to make a show. We have to retaliate in some way.
For such a barren country, or not even country, for such a barren planet, they had an exuberant amount of just delightful food, it looked like. I don't know. I thought they were eating the Wookiee, honestly. I don't know that's what your thoughts were. Like, after they threw him in that
I didn't think that they fried up the Wookiee.
I thought, whatever her name was, Fennec Shand, I thought she was eating Bar the Wookiee. I thought, like, but then I was like, that gives more credit to, like, Disney would never do, I mean, but
that's awfully savage for them to actually pull off.
I thought that maybe, like, and I was kind of laughing. I was like, boy, old Karsitan got cooked up and served on a plate. But wombat, I think is what it was.
I don't know what the heck it was, but it was just again, this kind of this weird little scene where they're just sitting around chatting. and
Eating.
chatting and eating. So then we get the little meet and greet with the
Huts.
Huts.
We still don't know who they are. They said the cousins of Jabba, but they still haven't.
They're supposed to be cousins of Jabba.
So
I
think Jabba's.
And like it was. They did at least admit they were like, yeah, we set Kirsten Tan to kill you. What of it?
What are you
gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Nothing. That's right. Because but
I was like, okay,
but weirdly they apologize. It's like, what?
That's not like Huts don't apologize.
I don't apologize for shit.
That's like Jabba saying, "Sorry, Han, my boy, for freezing you in carbonite." But you owed me money, but I'm sorry for doing that. It's like, no, it's like, what? Again, like this is this society where we have to apologize for everything.
Something like that, but it's just it's again weird that then they're the ones giving him the present of a Rancor. Like, okay, out of the blue, but I'm guessing they're supposed to be trying to set up something bigger that the Huts will probably be involved with later on. It's just they're trying to do this whole little game of of pushing around the blame, because again, this is where if I recall right, they again kind of go, yeah, it's still the mayor and some syndicate and stuff like that, or some other syndicate that's messing with them. But again, it's the mayor that's still having a part to do with all this.
It's annoying that I don't even is the mayor an actual title in Star Wars lore? Like, is that even a thing? Is it? Okay.
Well, okay. So I believe it is, because I mean they even had like regional governors and stuff like that got mentioned in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Like part of what I always remembered was mayors was being from Star Wars Galaxies, was you could when you set up a city on a planet, you could have
okay.
Yeah, you could have a character that would run as it would be the politician tree, and yeah, you could be a mayor of your guild city or just a city that you can get set up with a bunch of players. So yeah, it's a term that's been around.
I think regional governor sounds better.
What definitely threw me off was the sudden use of daimyo from the last couple episodes or whatever. I was just like, that feels out of the blue, but for all I know, it's out there somewhere.
Daimyo.
So what was funny too is like, and I mean, I guess this could be contributed to a bit of Boba Fett's personality of not really taking certain shit personally, but like he just ends up letting the Wookiee go after he basically he gets the choice. And what was weird though too, what I'm wondering now too is, will the Wookiee come back to him, because he did free him, he did let him go? So would that mean he'd be owed a life debt?
That's what I was. Okay, so I'm so glad that you brought this up, because I was thinking the exact same thing. Because again, research in Disney canon, when you do that with they are very not superstitious, but they like that whole life debt thing. Like they take very, very seriously, and it's not just been in the books; it's been in the games. It's been a thing.
Yeah, it's part
since before freaking Disney bought out Star Wars or Lucasfilm. So like I was wondering like, well, why did the Wookiee go? Because if he freed the Wookiee, would it Karsatan or whatever, how do we pronounce his name? Would he not give his life back to Boba, if that makes sense? So, but then he just runs off, and
he just kind of bunks off
and go get food.
Which
hungry
could be just for now. Like I said, he could just be he comes back later and proposes the whole life debt thing to him. Yeah, and then we'll probably again get Boba Fett's lighthearted side of, no, you don't owe me any such thing. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, just come eat dinner with me.
Right.
Drink merrily.
You can work for me. You can work for me, but you don't owe me any life debt.
Yeah. So, well, I want to touch on this and get your thoughts on this. So, through this whole thing, the Hutts end up saying that they're going to go back to Malhutta, and
Right.
in my just understanding, like Hutts are very, very smart. They may not be the most probably good smelling species, whatever you want to call them, but like
they're not the most hygienic. No,
that's a good word, but they're very smart and they're very business savvy.
Right.
So why? What benefit is it for them to leave? Like I don't understand that why they would just leave Nalhutta if Jabba, whatever that document that they had, like it doesn't make sense to me. Why would you leave unless there's something bigger at play?
My only thoughts would be for them to actually leave is that they've struck some deal with this syndicate that's led by what was it you kept calling
is it the Pikes?
The Pikes. If they made some sort of deal with the Pikes, or the Pikes came to them and made some deal, and we know we've seen from some of the trailers that Boba will meet up with the rest of the kind of other, crime bosses or whatever in the city, so it could have been a deal was struck. The Fetts were paid quite lucratively, and this is why they're they're bunking off, or they could be pulling some bigger strings, and again, it's going to be the whole big climax of the show or whatever they're going to do, some big, battle or whatever that, it gets revealed, oh, the Hutts were actually behind everything, and
right.
Or it could just be like I said, they got their pay and they're like, you know what, we don't want anything to do with this. We don't want to. It's getting too messy. We'll stand back and let the rest of you fight amongst each other, and then we'll probably wait to pick up the pieces later.
It's just in my I've always viewed the Hutts as like they also like people respect and fear them because like they're the Hutts, man, like they're cunning, savvy shysters. But it almost felt like they were afraid of the Pikes, but they don't even touch on like the three families that run Moss.
Well, no, they haven't yet, and I don't think there was anything of them necessarily. I mean, there could be the Hutts fearing the Pikes, but only because they're maybe kind of small fry, and they can only throw Jabba's name around so much to get their way. But
I just thought it was interesting. I want to get your thoughts on it because I don't.
Yeah,
to me, like I can't figure out why they're bugging out unless it's just too hot and there's
That would be my only thoughts for why they would be leaving.
I did laugh. The one, like, and I don't know if this was in the other two episodes, but this Hutt has a fan. It's just fanning.
Fanning itself all the time.
What is that going to do for you? It's probably 130 degrees Kelvin on this planet, and that just kind of made me chuckle. I'm like, really? But yeah, I want to see where this goes because it doesn't make sense to leave if there's money, if there's credits on the table, the Hutts ain't leaving.
No. Well, it could just be like I said. It could be the long game.
Long game.
They'll sit back, wait for everyone to kill each other, and then they'll pick up.
And come in and pick up. That could.
It'll be the cheapest.
You're giving them a lot of credit, though. The short game, sure, but the long game. I don't know if they're smart enough to play the long game.
At least for story writers, I'm probably giving them a lot of credit than they deserve. Right. But who knows? Maybe there's something being, I don't know. Maybe it could just be me just going, you know what? I'm watching this and I'm just trying to find any shred of that they're doing something with this other than shit on a paper.
Yeah. And serving it to you.
Yeah.
So
you just hope for better, but you expect the worst. Hope for the best, expect the worst.
It's like prepare for the worst and get the worst.
Yeah, pretty much. It's getting what. Although, like I said, this episode was kind of a gem just for all the Power Ranger memes. And stuff
I'm so excited to see all the memes, every single one of them. Like I think that we should post them.
I'm sharing some.
I shared one with I think you earlier
Yeah.
about the Power Rangers and Star Wars, but then we get to and this is I'm really excited about this because I do want to hear your thoughts on it. The whole Rancor love at first sight when it opens its eyes and becomes
That was
submissive to the first person it sees.
I
Still
mean,
pumped.
yeah, the whole, attachment at first sight sort of thing comes off as very weird, considering for Rancors, they come from Dathomir. They're mostly around creatures like, the Dathomirian witches, and for the things like if for anyone that went through the Bane book, the first Bane book, when he goes to oh shoot, I forgot the name of the planet, the Rakatan planet from that you went to in Coder 1. He uses the Force to control the beast, to Rancor, to be able to ride it,
just to ride it,
and just to subdue it, and then just to get it to take him to the temple. So, exerting that level of force, you'd almost think that was kind of a part of it. I mean, but then that also kind of brings up even more questions of how did the fat Beastmaster in Return of the Jedi tame the Rancor in Jabba's pit, So I mean, it brings a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Because you would think there would almost have to be kind of at least some kind of approving that the Rancor would kind of have, I don't know, like
that they're emotional.
There would have to be. I would.
Creatures.
You'd think there. I mean, I know they're supposed to be animals at the end of the day, but it's like at the same time, these sort of creatures, I would have thought like something to kind of show you're the alpha, to the creature than just good creature.
Oh, good boy. Creature. Are you hungry? Let's get him some food. Like, you have the Dark Lord of the Sith, like one of the original OGs, Bane, having to use the dark side of the Force, or we'll just say, for sake of argument, the Force to subdue this creature so he can ride it. And then you've got Boba Fett coming in here and tickling his chin and saying what a good boy he is, and feeding him his pick of the wombats that are behind Jabba's palace.
It really comes off as being kind of weird,
and then to paint them like, well, actually, Rancors are very emotionally sensitive creatures. Like, really? Like, this same Rancor in the Return of the Jedi ate half a Gamorrean.
And ate a Twi'lek.
What sensitivity did this Rancor have to the Gamorrean?
Well, the whole nature and nurture, right? So, that Rancor was raised bad. This Rancor will be raised good.
Yeah, there's absolutely there was no emotion or sensitivity in that Rancor when he had that Gamorrean. Maybe there was emotion. Maybe he was just mad. He was just mad that he could only eat one of them and not all of them. I don't know, but it's
the weird need to domesticate the most primal, the most animal of animals. It's just this thing that people don't want to understand, that at the end of the day, wild animals are still wild animals. They're gonna be, they have their instincts. They do not often go against. You can kind of get that friendlier side to them and kind of have these where they look so cute, like the little the tigers that look at it's cuddling up with the human. But what you don't understand though is that human also kind of put themselves in an alpha situation of knowing that and just knowing that there's a line. You only get so friendly with the wild animals.
Hopefully,
and where you step back and go, okay, that was
Hopefully
enough.
This doesn't cross the line. Hopefully this doesn't cross the line. But like everything you're saying, Siegfried and Roy. Siegfried and Roy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
Right. Cute little tiger that just ate living, like bad kitty. Where's my spray bottle?
Bad Rancor.
So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I will say this, and if it irritates people, I don't apologize. My cat, after
Never
watching
apologize.
that scene, my cat that is more terrifying than that Rancor was. At least my cat uses its claws and hisses, and it just like that's the point. Like, again, it's just another example of deconstructing and humanizing, I guess, in a sense,
violent
Boba, and now the Rancor, who is, like, that's the witch sister, like the witch sisters, like the witches of Dathomir. Like, if you've been to Dathomir, like, it's not a very great place. Like, I've never been there. I'd like to go there someday. But, I mean, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand it, man. Like,
neither do I sometimes.
I'm going to go back. I'm so mad that I'm going to go back tonight and just watch Return of the Jedi just so I can get a proper visualization of what a Rancor is supposed to do. Not this, I don't know, whatever neutered Rancor.
I just kind of laugh, though, because I end up thinking of certain things in terms of from my time playing Star Wars Galaxy. So I'm just like, did Boba Fett just drop his bounty hunter training completely, and now he's switched over to creature handler? Like, this is him trying to become a beginning creature handler, and I'm like, this motherfucker skipped so many goddamn steps. I still never even got to do that when I was trying to roll a creature handler.
Yeah. Look, what part of the game like, why are you able to skip 95% of the game and then go ride one of the, like, I spent 7 hours on the first level.
Oh, that's what they're gonna do, isn't it? That's gonna be part of the season finale, isn't it? He's gonna end up going into battle riding the Rancor.
Probably. But here's a twist: the Rancor is gonna be so sensitive and emotional that it's probably just gonna sit in the corner and not do anything.
That wouldn't surprise me any.
So he's probably gonna ride the Wookiee. I don't know. Like, it's just. The Wookiee will come back and provide transportation for him. So
now we get to the fun. Get to the fun.
I hope you're going to say what I'm going to say.
Because this scene. Now, the way I took down the note was it is a tone deaf scene, with basically the Mighty Morphin bike rangers with very serious music. The whole scene they try to play it off like it's a serious thing, but when you've got these goofballs on their freaking mopeds, it does not come across as in any way intimidating or, like they're supposed to be badass. It just comes off like this. Just you got Zordon, Alpha, Rita's escaped, recruit a team of teenagers with attitude.
Like,
that's all this it was what popped into so many of our minds when we first see it. You kind of didn't catch the bikes at first because it was kind of a dark scene, so you don't quite catch everything. But once you had the daylight, and then this whole bit where they're riding up to the mayor's office, it was the first thing that came to my mind.
Now, I know that they have, over the years, like, for those of us that were born when we were, you and I, our time, like, grew up with the Power Rangers. I'm not going to reveal our age or anything, but, like, wasn't there, like, this is a perfect example. Like, this is the exact same as the Power Rangers. They had, 2 guys and 2 girls? What did the Power Rangers? Was it not?
It was basically like 2 to 3 boys, and then 2 girls.
2 girls. So, yeah. So the third guy probably died, and this is what's left of them, I guess. But, like, the colors and everything, it's like, what? Like, what are you thinking? Are you so desperate to piss people off that, like, the colors don't even flow, like red, blue, yellow? Like, why? What are you doing? Is your head is so far up your butt, if you sneeze, it's coming out. Like, it's just gonna be this, like, I just pull that up again. Are you serious?
Yes. The Jetsons, even. I mean,
how many rear view mirrors do you need? Do you need 18 mirrors? Like,
Well, I
we
mean,
could do a
look
whole
at
show
I mean, look
just
at
on
it
this.
it is the one chick that has all the mirrors, and you know, we all know the memes there.
Yeah. They're coming. Please show.
Oh no!
me
Now
something.
here's another. This is another great one because we get the whole. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Who made this?
This I found from on Twitter. Release the McCracken. Robbie Hart 21.
It just, yeah, it's just painful, and just the whole.
And okay, so then I mean, they get this goofy little bit where they're going up to the building. Now, what especially then, I don't know what you could say, triggered me or whatever, but he walks in and goes, "I'm here to see the mayor," basically, instead of walking in, blasting open the front door, and then walking in and blasting open the mayor's door to get all the way through and not mince any words. He actually stops and is like, "Yes, can we see the mayor?"
Yeah, I have a 2:00. Mayor.
No, it just again. How do you have this?
I tell you what, Jango Fett would have done. He would have killed every one of those people up in that building, and he would have blasted down that door, and then he probably would have killed the mayor.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
I love the fact, and then like this scene pissed me off that like so easily within 1 second, like this Fennec Shan character pulls out a knife and is able to cut, like basically like flip open, like quickly like disarm. This
quickly slice the door.
Yeah, I'm like, have you like? Jason Bourne could have even done that. Like, it's just
why didn't they shoot the door down?
That's what I'm thinking. Well, you use a knife, like,
why bother?
Well, I guess it's less violent.
I guess.
But like, and then like that, like blast the door.
And Boba wonders why nobody respects him.
Yeah, but you have a better shot of hitting him than a stormtrooper. you're 30 inches away.
So
and then like,
the whole thing was just so goofy because then the mayor's aide is just setting them up to look like goofs. It's like really, why didn't even going in and then putting the Twi'lek in an arm bar and smashing his face into the desk and being like, "Tell me where the mayor is now." Right. Something. A little show of force. Instead, they actually listened to him and let him, try and head out.
Yep.
Really?
And that boy
again, it's just so incomprehensibly stupid. It's like you guys are making yourselves look incompetent. No,
it's like, okay, you've lied to me 7 times, but I'm going to trust you this one last time. Where's the mayor? You don't lie to me.
You guys have been giving us the runaround since the start of all this. I've had to come back here with the guy that you supposedly sent to try and kill me that named you. You were named by the Hutts, and I've had to come back here. Now, this is the second time I've had to come back here.
Yeah. I'm tired of walking through this city. Tell me where the mayor is. Like, it's just this. It's just this back and forth.
Boba needs his own moped now.
He does. He needs his own walker. That's what he needs. Because that's exactly what he's acting like. Just this he's reminiscent of a bygone era.
Yeah.
But
that's what they're really making him out to be when this didn't have to be the case. Everything lined up to being, something that could have been really good.
But then he's like, let me go get the mayor then. And it's like, you trust this shyster? Like, you're gonna let him go? and you think that he's actually gonna go get the mirror, like, and you're just gonna sit there and wait, and you're gonna trust him, like. And the second thing, doesn't like you would think that there would be some type of tech in his helmet that I don't know, maybe he could see through walls. I've heard Arnold Schwarzenegger could. Like
that's a good. I'm trying to. I don't think it could.
He's got thermal. I know they have thermal imaging, and that's I think that's I believe that's in canon. I don't. I have to go back and read the Bounty Hunter books, but I know that there is tech in those helmets to where.
I know there's ridiculous amounts of tech that they have in those helmets.
But you can't see through a wall.
I was trying to remember the Bounty Hunter game.
Is there anything like that
they had? And I was trying to remember if they had anything like that in there, but it just was not.
No, I remember playing the Republic Commando games, and you could see through walls. If someone thinks I'm wrong, or if I'm actually am wrong, put it in the comments. But I'm pretty sure I played those games. And I remember a level of being able to see like the, what were they called? The Geonosians. You could see them like through wall. Yeah.
The first stages.
Yeah.
Oof. I'm gonna have to replay that game.
Replay. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just so mad right now that I want to believe
you want it to be there. Yeah.
I want it to be a thing because this is the same tech. But yeah, and then the whole chasing scene is like just.
And then, yes, the chase scene, the most slow-looking chase scene ever. And again, some more, this is Disney Lucasfilm. They have, you'd think, more money than God. And they cannot, and all this technology to really try and put the actors in the atmospheres that they're supposed to be in, the environments they're supposed to be in, yada yada yada, and yet they can't seem to hire like a stunt coordinator or anything to really put together an intense scene. I mean, Jesus, it was more intense playing the in Shadows of the Empire, chasing down the biker gangs before you get to Kenobi's old house.
Yeah,
that was more intense than what we watched.
More butt puckering moment doing that than watching this nursing home chasing.
It was a bunch of people chasing each other on mopeds.
I said it. I think I said
goofy as hell.
I said it the first episode, and I'll say it again. 1974, 79. I mean, when the original movies came out, they had better graphics and better scenes than this stuff. And again, people, well, you're biased because you're like, yeah, I'm biased, but I'm like being completely honest with you that like it looked like Lucas did a better job 30, 40, 50 years ago doing this stuff than freaking now.
Well, see, this is where we get to that crux of the matter, right? This is where you get where it's passion, people that are passionate about putting together a movie like Star Wars, A New Hope, putting all that together and making it out to be what it became, versus a cash grab, which is all this is amounting to at this point. It's just been, or even since the beginning of this show, it's just been a cash grab. And hey, remember Boba Fett? And that's all this has been amounting to.
What cash? Like, they want Imperial credits that aren't a thing anymore? Like, what money are you gonna grab from this? And here's what pisses me off the most about this is that if Filoni ever happenstance came across our show, right? And like they're probably sit there laughing like, "Ha, you have all this stuff to say about us, but you're watching the show," and it's like it's like not my like watching this just you can't even call it a show.
That's where I just come into there are pathways to consuming this that some would consider unnatural.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Chills.
So you guys ain't getting shit out of me. I may be giving some I guess it's like they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but when you got so many people trashing your shit, I can only hope it makes a dent somewhere in that bottom line.
Yeah, it was very painful to. And then it's like you watch these kids, like the girl with the Lego arm, and then the guy with who was what was it? Bugs Bunny that always tapped his foot. It's the Bugs Bunny, like the tap tap tap. Yeah, that guy that's got a force pike at the end of his or whatever the pike, his on his boot, like.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
One of the James Bond, like Mr. No, who had the knife in his shoe? Was it Dr. No? Dr. No threw the hat, I think.
No, that was odd job that threw the hat.
Who was you got the knife out of the shoe? Who was it? Was it Mr. No? There was some old James Bond guy that had the knife.
I've just recently rewatched some of the old James Bond movies, but it's not ringing a bell at the moment.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like. In this guy, this hydraulic jackhammer of a foot, and then the guy with the laser, or was it flame or laser hand that was trying to cut the engine? Like,
yeah.
This could have all been resolved if Boba would have just shot the rocket from his jetpack. Just saying.
Yeah. Or at least finally used his jetpack to chase after him and, ended this a lot faster. But hey, he used his jetpack to land.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's important.
And we had a crash scene that basically was reminiscent of, Back to the Future, Biff slamming into the manure truck.
Yes.
I think I have to give credit to my brother for that one because he mentioned that. I'm like, oh my God, you're right.
Just painful. It was just really just painful. And then was it the girl, whatever, hits the ramp and then she's like driving her moped sideways on the
she gets
the
the
wall
mug at the camera and everything. Yeah.
Mysteriously just lands perfectly. And then you see just the amazing CGI where she just stops. She turns around really fast and and I'm like, this guy, yeah. So I think that wraps it up, yeah. Or
much? So that was then basically, then he again is once Boba lands, he starts gets to question him a bit, and then that's when we find the pikes. Yeah. that are landing on the planet, and there's a crap ton of them this time that are coming onto the planet. So this whole syndicate thing is supposed to be kicking off.
Yeah.
And then
that's I forgot that.
And then they're just kind of going into basically planning mode.
Yeah. We're going to war. We'll be prepared for it or something.
Okay, this is another stupid thing that they have Boba do. Who would not give two shits, who would just move on with the conversation, because he talks to the guy that has the modded eye, and he says keep an eye on them.
Yes.
And then he apologizes for the mile pot. He modded himself out. Come on,
he didn't lose his eye.
From as far as we know. This has all been self-done to themselves. They had a reputation for it and everything, because the watermonger guy was what brought it up about them. And it's like, well, why would he get? He wouldn't have given a shit. He just would have moved on. He just would have kept moving with the conversation. It wouldn't have been this. Sorry.
Yeah, he apologized, and then
no offense.
And then the Finnick she makes a comment about eyes or something.
I think so.
And I'm like, oh my God, that gave me just made the hair on my neck stand. I was like, really?
It was just a face palming moment where you're just like, come on, seriously.
God. Keep an eye on it,
which is haha, okay. But again, that's such a common phrase, anyways. It's just. But it just happens to be a little different because of this little situation.
It's like they're trying to put humor in it. This is classic Marvel humor, Marvel Disney
exactly. It's the Marvel writing. It's the Marvel writing to a T.
Sorry to burst your bubble. It's not funny. It's not. It's terrible. My dad jokes are better. Keep keep an eye on it. Like I can't do an Australian accent, but it's like keep an eye out. Keep an eye on it. I'm like,
so
ha, ha, ha.
that's what ties up the episode and everything. And
okay, well, I just want to. So we'll say what were the highlights for you for this episode, and then I'll give my 2 cents or my cent at least.
The one highlight I would say from this episode was the Wookiee fight. Even though it was partly just him throwing
everybody around,
Boba Fett around, it was at least there was some savagery to it, and he did gnaw on the Gamorreans, which was freaking hilarious. And I was like, yes, eat the piggy.
Yeah. Eat the subclavicle.
Otherwise, it was a goofy as shit episode. It was not. It was. It had no. The tone wasn't really there to try and maintain the seriousness. When you have your multicolored Vespas going around, it was just the only like it is. Like I said from the start, the only good thing that came out of this was all the memes that have been created out of all of this. That has been created thanks to all this. I mean, that I can at least say has brought some much needed light to it. Yeah, some joy to it. So otherwise, it was just an episode where I probably would have dropped real fast.
Yeah. So we'll do on a scale of 1 to 10, and if you know me, I always love to use the figure skating scale because if you give it a 10 and you get something better, you can't give 2 10s. Yeah. So how would you rate on a scale of 1 to 10?
-10.
I mean, I'm not mad at you.
Seriously, I would just say it was being generous a 2.
Oh, you're better man than I am. Better man than I am. Okay. Well, any other highlights? Or is that pretty much
the only reason I could say it would be a 2 is just for the fact that it only by a snail's mile moves the plot along just a little bit.
Yeah. Like
I said, I was a little surprised that they actually wiped out the Tuskens. I would have thought that the Tuskens would have been playing some role down the line that helps them out or something.
Yeah.
But that might come in the form of the female Tusken that trained them.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Well, so my thought. So the greatest thing out of this whole episode.
Oh, I gotta know this.
I'm so excited. Is the fact that Danny Trejo made an appearance. That's the only thing I have.
As the Beastmaster for the Rancor.
I called him, and I'm coining this. So if anybody uses this, I get a royalty. It's actually I've got a patent pending on it. But Rancor Whisper, Danny Trejo. It's the only good thing that has come out of this episode, in my opinion. So I double backed when this guy was on this skiff platform, whatever you want to call it. I was like, man, that dude kind of looks like old Danny Trejo. I love Danny Trejo for the simple fact that he gets screwed in every single role, but he's an amazing actor. And I will fight anybody who wants to fight me on it. But I double backed. I was like, no, that's not. There's no way, Danny. Danny Trejo would not be a part of this ridiculousness. Sure enough, Rancor Master or Rancor Whisper.
Yeah,
it's the only thing, only great thing. That's it. Wookiee scene. That was. I agree. Like it, it caught my eye. I was like, interesting. Like I was like, okay, he's gonna fight this Wookiee, and maybe we'll be able to see like the Boba Fett of old come in and just pwn this guy. Nope.
Yeah. But
it was Danny Trejo. On a scale of 1 to 10, I thought you were a lot more generous than I was. I was gonna go like a 1.2 for the simple fact that Danny Trejo's in it.
I didn't know I could give it a point. Okay.
Hey, listen. No. If you want to use that's a rookie score. It's a whole number. But if you want to give it a,
I try and take it into a view besides my own of
it's very hard.
Of knowing what I do know about the Star Wars universe and stuff like that, as limited as it is, but I I hate the idea of being fair, especially when it comes to Disney. But yeah, I could just see somebody kind of going into this and going, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And
That's why
I've
I like.
seen,
Well, what was fun about it? That's my question would be to them. Like
the only thing I could see is that they might have gotten some weird enjoyment out of, like you said, seeing Danny Trejo being the Beastmaster, bringing the Rancor. We had the Wookiee fight, and then as to the rest of us could see it as a very slow paced chase scene. Some might see it as a little bit of that. I mean, if it's especially, I'm making excuses, I guess, because it's like looking at it from a kid watching it could potentially see some fun in it and going, oh, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So
Mom, I want one of those.
Like it is. That's where I could I went the 2 route. I think my negative 10 should have been where I stuck it.
Probably. You said you made an interesting point that it kind of moves the story along, but it's like for 38 minutes worth of just utter ridiculousness, it moved it like you.
Well, that's why I said by a snail's mile.
Yeah,
I
get
very slow, and it only by a little bit did we get that advancement. It's like there are other shows out there that are paced a lot better than this.
Do we have to wait? Do we have to waste 38 minutes of our life to get a snail's mile, as you said, worth of story? Like,
yeah. Well,
I'm watching. I'm just like, where's this going? That was during the whole episode. I'm like, where's this going?
Yeah.
Like, why are the Hutts leaving? Like, it's more questions than answers.
Which is sometimes, sometimes the goal is to make to raise questions, is to make it go,
good
okay,
questions.
So where's this gonna?
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
not like what are they think? Are they like? I'm not even gonna say like I think a child. I was gonna say is a child riding this, but I'd almost rather a child ride it. So.
You might actually get something a little better, yeah.
You bring up a really good point, though. It is hard, I think, with the knowledge, and I use this term loosely because I'm sure people will be like, "Oh, you guys don't know a lot of whatever they want to make." But like the knowledge that we do have, like it is hard to be fair because they have implemented. If I was to put a percent of amount of like canon that they're actually using or not, like it's slim to none. Like, I've never come across in reading, and know better than I would because you've read the Bounty Hunter books more than I have. But like simple stuff like taking off the helmet and then just dehumanizing or humanizing the Mandalorian, the
Tuskens,
the Tuskens, and then I was gonna say the Mandalorian race, but it's not a race; it's like more of a culture, I guess, but society, if you will, like. It's just it's like they have canon and they're trying to erase the canon. Like they're like, that's not.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is they're trying to write their own canon, but the thing is that they're doing it very poorly.
It's not even poorly. I could deal with poorly. I could deal with that all day. This is it
lowest common denominator shit, yeah.
It makes you want to climb on top. I don't even know, man.
This is basically made like it is to be consumed on a streaming service. This is meant to you watch it and then you move on to the next thing immediately. For sure. You aren't meant to stick around and really kind of ponder it or anything.
Well, I mean, I just overall, I think, I agree with your negative 10. For me, it left more answers than it left more questions than answers, and I get that's obviously the point in some stuff, but good questions, not like what in the world are they doing? Are they so high on spice that are they writing this being high on spice? Like
you would hope it would, but I would think somebody high on spice, on some hallucinogens or whatever, that
come
they
up
could
with
at least
something
get
better,
something a little creative to bring out of this.
So that's good stuff. That's right on cue. I think we went through pretty much everything. In my notes, I was actually highlighting like specific things that irritated me. So I have my whole note card is in has dots on it.
Yeah, that was pretty much all that I had for that particular episode as well. So now, did you want to do a palette cleanse and talk about Dark Empire?
Yeah, I'm excited.
So should we do this book by book, or should we just talk about the whole kit and caboodle off the bat?
I'd like to do. I think the book by book. See, I gotta do. You're making me do what you're doing. I think book by book is the route I would want to go. I think that'd be fun.
That's fine.
Give viewers give them a little tidbit of we'll go through book by book and give them thoughts through each episode.
Yeah. So, Dark Empire. This is now. For me, this is a book that is the whole series. I can't help but say the whole series itself, because it is something what comes of it is just kind of makes me just kind of hit my head a little bit. But otherwise, for going off of book one, what it is good is that they do how they, get things kicked off, basically kind of ominously setting everything up.
Yeah.
For the beginning of this, it's just kind of, you got Han, Leia, C-3PO, and Chewie going out to kind of investigate this other planet that's already got some battling going on. And it's kind of the cool thing. They set up the atmosphere of it. You got the panel with the all the destroyed Death Stars and TIE fighters, and the ship debris, and it's just kind of you gotta love that. Yeah, and for some of it, the artwork, it kind of is, some of it's really good. Like you look at this right here, and I do gotta say, it's like, man. Hang on, let me just try and. Oops. Kind of goofed it up there. Let me close that. Oops. Shit. Sorry. Technical difficulties. So you go. Why don't you want to?
Yeah, well, so I guess I should have said this in our first episode when we were given kind of our talking about ourselves and giving us a little history. But I love comic books. I'm a huge comic book fanatic. Like I'm DC, which is, in my opinion, the only good comic book out there. Marvel sucks. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not sorry. But so I love comic books. So when you had the idea of doing this, I was super excited, just because I have a love for comic books. Mm-hmm. So reading through the first book, overall, like, to your point, like, obviously it's an older issue. Yeah. I was pretty okay with some of the artwork, and you have to. This is where you got to be. It's hard because, I grew up reading comic books, so like art obviously throughout the years and it changes, but I was pretty okay with the art. I thought it was pretty decent for
this is like 1990.
Yeah,
for this book,
the time, and then the intricacy of just artwork for Star Wars. I mean, a lot of.
I think what kind of partly set me off a little bit from it is just kind of the way the colors are all splashed across the page, and it's not as precise in the characters and everything like that. But then, now that I've been looking at it again from a perspective of, it's kind of setting the mood for what goes on then also throughout the books.
Right. It's almost like the artist uses the color to the mood defines the color. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like the color kind of helps go in line with like where the story is going, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, but in comic, like for me, that's kind of how it felt. Like I don't know if you have
No,
any of its pictures, but
I know where you're going with that.
yeah. So now, obviously, throughout there's some things that like kind of irritated me, but I mean, it happens with reading comic books and whatnot. But I think in one of the pages, I don't know if it's 23 or whatnot, but when Leia's talking about how she uses the term force field. She can feel the living force field, the force field. I'm like, are you talking about the force? Or she uses it like force field, and then
well, I think I know I see like where it's the what page is this? I don't know what page it is exactly. She says, yeah, Luke is right. I can feel the force moving through me, guiding. Oh no! He said it was like supposed to be describing a force field.
Yeah, well, she's describing the force, and I think she uses the term.
Well, I mean, it is supposed to be her kind of finally, slowly but surely learning that stuff.
Let me see if I can find it. But let's see here. Yeah, and then like it's way up here. Maybe I got the page wrong, but what was it?
Well, and then like what also gets set up with all of this too is that it's basically you've got imperial remnants that are still duking it out apparently against not apparently, but it's against the more Emperor's loyalists.
So they use the term Emperor's inner circle. This is not to be mistaken with the Emperor's hand, which we've had conversations in the past about. Yeah. Is this
that's an entirely different. The Emperor's hand was basically his cabal, his like 5-member cabal of Force users that weren't quite Sith, but they were trained in the arts. So and that's where we got Mara Jade and everyone.
I remember distinctly our conversation about this. So, but I read that I was like, surely they're not like they wouldn't be trying to confuse the inner circle with the Emperor's hand, because the Emperor's hand.
No, it's entirely different.
The Emperor's hand would make you crap your pants on a good day.
Well, okay, so I'll go through the little crawl that they had for it. So as it starts out, following the deaths of Darth Vader and the Emperor and the destruction of the second Death Star, the Rebel Alliance proclaimed a new republic over 3/4 of the galaxy. But without the thousands of Jedi Knights who formed the backbone of the old Republic, the new Confederation was a precarious one. Long years of struggle ensued, during which the Imperials regained strength, pushing back the Alliance until the majority of worlds, including the vital Imperial system, fell once again under Imperial control. Then, without warning, civil war erupted as factions within the Imperial Navy battled the former Emperor's ruling circle for control of the Empire. The rebels seized the opportunity to sow confusion among the feuding Imperials, using captured Star Destroyers to conduct hit-and-run sorties into the war zones. One such raid over the raging Imperial City battleground ended in disaster. The Alliance Star Destroyer Liberator, commanded by Luke Skywalker and Lando Calrissian, crashed on the planet's surface. Only Luke's skillful use of the ship's deflector shields and anti-grav braking system prevented all aboard from being killed. As our story opens, Princess Leia Organa and her husband Han Solo, together with Wookiee Chewbacca and protocol droid C-3PO, are on a daring mission to rescue their fallen comrades. So I was wrong when I said, I was saying that they were investigating, whatever. But no, they were sent there to go and help out.
Yeah.
And find out what became of all of them. So, and then that's when they're getting into seeing all the debris and stuff like that, and getting down to once they make break for it, get down to the planet.
Yeah.
And they do give kind of I think I already showed it, but I mean, it is a great page, that 2-page of the where you have the AT-ATs walking around blasting everything, and you got the ground combat going on.
Pulling up here as well. So, yeah.
And they kind of do their own hit and runs on some of the AT-ATs. And then
so what is your thoughts on that? Because I'm like, can the Millennium Falcon
have blaster cannons that are strong enough to penetrate the AT-ATs?
Yeah, because even obviously the Battle of Hoth, Luke says those blasters are no match for that armor. And I know the T-47 is obviously a lot smaller than the Falcon, but I saw that, I was like, really, is that a thing? Can that be a thing? So
well, now here is the thing with that is that I happen to have gone through I went through the audiobook of Dark Forces 1 Soldier for the Empire, which is the beginning of Kyle Katarn. It kind of gives that backstory to before he becomes part of the Rebel Alliance, to then him in the Rebel Alliance, doing that first mission, getting into that first mission to steal the Death Star plans. And in that whole thing is that he does say there are some weak points on the AT-ATs that you can hit, but it does require, I think if he said it was like requiring strong enough firing to do so. The ship that Jan was flying, not necessarily, but I would imagine the Millennium Falcon that would have the power to get through those weak points and be able to take out the AT-ATs like they did. That's possibly where that's coming in.
Where it's coming from,
and like it was also showing they hadn't gotten to that yet. Although it was kind of part of like how Leia's starting to feel the Force and using that to help take the shot. She can feel the Force moving through her, guiding her hands for like in terrible tasks of war, but it helps take those shots, and they're able to take down the AT-ATs or AT-ATs. So that makes enough sense. Or at least it does. That's not a big issue to me. No.
I read that, I was like, I wonder, like, what, like, just questions like, where do you, like, and that might be just silly questions, like, okay, like where'd you hit it? Where, like, what's the weak spot? Where'd you hit it? Because it freaking took, Wedge. I believe it was Wedge. Harpooning and harpooning.
Yeah, they had to ground. They grounded they grounded the AT-ATs and then blasted it.
And then blast. Yeah. So, and then
no. So then it's just kind of a lot of the ground combat, basically, and it does get to. I did kind of like when they have these little cyber dog beasts.
I was just thinking that the necks.
Yeah, and then hang on, I'll get the page really quick because I wanted to. They're Cyborian battle dogs,
AKA.
and then we get Luke's intro, which is kind of interesting how they silhouette him.
Yeah, it looked like
making
Vader.
him almost look like Vader.
Oh, I was like, no.
But at the same time, I mean, it's really, this looks really cool because then they have him taking out those mechanic weapon droids.
Yeah, the Separatists are back. If you didn't know that.
and then oops, hang on. Boom, we got Luke. And he's wrecking up the battlefield. And this is the Luke Skywalker we were all hoping to get.
Yeah.
The Luke Skywalker that's skilled. He's been through enough shit by a certain point.
He ain't messing around.
He's still a little naive in certain ways, which these books will kind of get into a little bit. But at least down the line. I mean, boom.
Right there.
Deflects the AT-AT blast right back at it.
What were your thoughts on that?
What, him doing that?
Yeah. Were your thoughts like, he could do that?
I didn't see it with that. I mean, considering this is some time after after Return of the Jedi. So yeah, he's most definitely done more training. I don't know where exactly this is supposed to fall in the timeline wise.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was trying to. So this is obviously because I've read. So if you read the Thrawn books, I don't know if this is pre-Thrawn because I think in those books, I don't want to misspeak, but it mentioned the Imperial City where the Emperor ruled, but they don't say what actual like planet that is. But
I don't know
I'm
if that was
curious
before they got Coruscant or not.
Coruscant, Coruscant. But I was wondering that too, where this falls in the timeline of things. If this is pre Grogu, or I'm sorry, if this is pre Grogu or after. Sorry, I had to throw that out there, dude. It's not Baby Yoda.
Don't you stop it?
Yeah. Going back to my cage, but I thought it was pretty cool. The whole him just in front of the AT-AT.
Yeah, and it's. Oops. So, then basically, Luke's just kind of laying down that there's some ominous shit going on this place. He's feeling something deep in the Force.
I mean, enough to where he's like telling everybody to leave.
Yeah, and he's just telling everybody, let me handle this. Get off the planet as soon as possible.
Yeah. I almost had this thought, like, is there temptation there with this dark? Like, it doesn't exactly say it's like. No,
it does say like, it's do not, because it's kind of going into the letterboxing saying, do not underestimate the power of the dark side, because that's exactly what's pulling in this planet to this whole situation.
So it's almost like, is Luke is he being tempted by the dark side to like go after whatever this storm is? Because I mean it's right after a couple pages down, the Antari 6 drops out of hyperspace, and there's this storm or whatever they call it, a hyperspace wormhole, and then there's this mighty energy storm.
Yeah,
and it drops down to the planet. So,
and then he just kind of gets himself sucked into everything. No, it's because it kind of we've kind of talked about this book series already.
Yeah,
but it's kind of Luke trying to get more I think his own understanding of the dark side, what it really is truly what it even further is capable of for corruption.
Right.
Because he ends up playing like it is a very dangerous game when all gets revealed.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like it's kind of with because at least this is before, because like it is with this book, this was before we had metachlorines and stuff like that got introduced. Thanks, George.
Yeah.
But George. This is still kind of maintaining that bit of mysticism, that bit of just that mysticism to the Force, that there's nothing that's kind of a guarantee, and anything can be possible when it's harnessed. So
right. Well, I just kind of I think you said it beautifully. I was just there's a point there that I was around. Like, I wonder if he was being tempted by the dark side, and some could argue like, oh, he's never been tempted by the dark side, and then I would counter. I was like, really? Because when he was fighting Vader, he definitely had a little anger issue when he talked about his sister and then ended up cutting off his arm. So, but
yep.
And then there's a point where like R2, comes out. I was like, if you kill off R2, I'm going to raise this city to the ground. But
that little droid manages to stick through so freaking much. It's insane.
Yeah. So I'm very curious, and like I said, I'm excited to go through these books throughout the next episodes, because I think so far we won't touch on the future ones. But
for a first book too, I mean, it does set the intrigue. It makes you kind of wonder what the heck is going on.
Yeah,
it lays the groundwork of what's to come. But like it was too, like I said, some of those panels were pretty freaking cool, and you got the the ground battle, and then those little cyber dogs that were pretty weird looking, and
Right.
like it was, you can't beat a good intro, right?
Well, you can't. Well, what's even more intriguing about it is it's like, obviously at the beginning panel it says, this is after Vader and Emperor has died, but obviously there's dark side energy
Still
or the
around,
force
yep.
is still around. So what is that? Because Luke, I'll say Disney canon is, now the Emperor fell down the Death Star fell down the shaft and survived via medical whatever it was.
It was, and he created weird clones that was Snoke, and it's just kind of like, okay.
So it's like Disney canon, which I hate saying that, but the Disney side of stuff is like he survived the fall and through the cybernetics and whatever, and then there's the part where actually Palpatine actually cloned himself, and then I think there's another one, and I don't know if I had to do research, but where like he would possess people, like he used like the transfer essence of transference, or were we talking about that? I can't remember if we were talking about.
You might be getting a little ahead of things.
Probably. I'll digress. But
no, what they set up for Rise of Skywalker and bringing back Sheev the way they did, it was just kind of like, like I said, I have my issues with Dark Empire, but my God, it's again making things look so much more favorably upon this series, because I never thought it could be done in such a stupid manner.
Yeah,
as what Disney managed to cook up. I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, well, hold on. Are you telling me that you didn't like them bringing back Palpatine in the Rise of Skywalker?
Listen. I love me. Ian McDermott's great. He's Sheev. I would love to have him back in certain capacities, but good Lord, this was not.
He's been a good chancellor.
I mean, he was at least the highlight of it, but it wasn't enough to save just how bad the freaking movie was.
Oh,
I was watching it with the Riff Tracks audio commentary, and I was still bored out of my mind.
Well,
there were some good chuckles here and there, but it was just like, what are you? It was just the culmination of this inconsistent trash heap that is the sequel trilogy. And I know there are so many people out there wishing and hoping to whatever out there that they erase it or decanonize it or whatever, but I'll say it, and I'll say it again. It's something they'll never do because it's admitting a mistake. And
you've said that many times. You said that. I've heard, At least I've heard fractured filters. I think in 13 times in one day. I think he said this. So no, and that's there's so much that we can unpack, and this could be a show later down the road. But just you touched on it, so I'll touch on it. The fact that this girl that's had all of probably 2 months of training from a hermit was able to channel every single Jedi that's ever lived to destroy the great, in my opinion.
Who's a Palpatine?
Yeah. That. Yeah. Okay. That'd be for a different show. But I don't even know where. So this is what happens. You go down rabbit holes. But
we'll touch on it further as we get more into the other books.
But definitely excited to unpack everything, because I think overall so far it's. How would you rate it? Figure skating scale.
The book?
So far, just book one.
Like I said, the first book is good. I'd give it probably a 7 out of 10 or something like that, just as a good starting point, and it kind of gets to show off, like I say, Luke's own ability. Gets a bit of insight of Leia's starting to learn the ways of the Force. She's starting to embrace it a little bit, because I think it came much after.
We need to figure out the timeline. We need to figure out this timeline when this actually takes
We'll have
place.
to figure out the timeline, and we'll come back to that for sure.
Yeah.
But otherwise, just from that, off the it's the first book. It gets you interested in what is it that's out there that's sucking Luke in to this whole sphere. So
Right. So that
what about
would
you?
one yeah, I think beautifully said. I'd probably like I'll do 6.8. 6.8 final score. 6.8. I think yeah. It set up great. I think the art for the time is could have been better, sure, but with everything like you could everybody's a critic, yeah, the old saying, but I think the artwork for the most part pretty good. Like
Yeah.
the story, it's intriguing. For me, it makes me want to read the next book and the next it's everything that I think you would expect out of a comic book. When you read a comic book, you expect to be left on a cliffhanger and wanting to wait that whole month for it to release again, right? So for me, definitely recommend, and I would want to read the next issue.
Cool. All right, so I think we're at that time. We ought to call it a night.
Call it
It's
a
been
night.
fun.
Been fun, yes.
I'll be sure to I'll get this up onto the rss.com for the audio playback, and of course this will always be available on youtube.com on my channel, Fractured Filter. So anybody that wants to check out the replay, they absolutely can.
I'd say go ahead and I'm still working on all my social media platforms. I'm trying to
no worries
get finalized, but yeah, definitely for you. Do you want to just quickly just name off yours? And
I'll just say that I've got all of the links in the description. You can check them out there and find me that way. And with that, I will leave everyone on the final meme of the night for our Boba Fett Power Rangers. Here we go.
I can't.